Okay, so welcome. We're going to do Mailchimp Mania today. We're going to talk about email marketing, and this could be the program you're using. This could be the program you want to start using. Maybe you use another similar one, like maybe you're using Constant Contact. Or maybe you have a software system that has a built-in email component. And so these kind of skills you're going to be able to apply in different places. I'm going to focus on Mailchimp today, but you'll see that some of the things may be similar to other products that you have. All righty, so I want to talk about all of these things. This is my agenda for today. And the first thing I'm going to hit is about really the guidelines and the laws that you need to know about. And then we'll actually work with the program. So I'm going to flip through some of these slides, and then I'm just going to jump over to Mailchimp. All right, so you cannot just grab an email and drop it into your subscription list for a newsletter. You can't do that. You have to have people's permission to subscribe them to your newsletters and your mailing list. There are laws now. There's something called the General Data Protection Regulation. It's about data privacy and security. And on the other end of it, we love it, right? But if you're the business trying to get messages out to people, you want a little more flexibility. So the GDPR is actually something out of Europe. But if you happen to be interacting with people in Europe, then these rules still apply to you. So fees can be high. It's just really important that you get consent to share your content via email, and it has to have that unsubscribe. So they have to give consent freely. And this is why you see my husband was signing up for something recently, and he's like, why do they need my email? And I said, because in small print, it says they're going to email you back later with their business mailing. So that's what it is. But you have to get permission to use their email address. In the US, it is we're starting to see more laws about this. There's something just coming up that is going to make it in the US. You can add users and send your commercial business messages, but it's mandatory that you allow them a place to opt out and unsubscribe. That's what the US looks like now, but it's developing. So don't be surprised. You see that more and more regulations around that. But like I said, on the consumer end, we like that part. Okay, so you're going to bring in audiences. This means bringing in those people. How are they getting to you? Are they subscribing? Are you importing a list that you've already got permission to email? How are you doing it? I'm going to walk it through. To really use a list efficiently, you're going to want to apply tags. So I tag people for different reasons in my list. Maybe I'm going to speak to a local women's group, so I might want to have a tag that's for women. Maybe I'm going to be speaking to an accounting group, and so I want to have tags of everybody that I know that's an accountant or a bookkeeper. So those are the kind of things that are going to be important. You'll have to decide what that looks like in your business, but I'll walk you through how to set those up. Something a little different than that is email marketing with segments. And what you'll be able to see as I go through this is that you can break off groups within the bigger audience, and it's a little different than a tag. I'm able to do this maybe by location, because Mailchimp is able to see maybe where the email's originating from. It knows those kind of things, that behind the scenes kind of data. Or also I could have a segment maybe of people that didn't open the first email. I can break that off into a group. Or maybe I want to pull out just people with a nonprofit style email address like .org. Maybe I want to segment that group. So it's just another way of managing and dividing out our bigger audience. We'll walk through building an actual email campaign. It is one of the easiest builders that I've been using lately. If you've done any kind of behind the scenes, like building websites or playing with any of those things, you're going to find that this block style is really easy to work with. You can drag and drop the parts where you want them to go. It's very, very nice. And then I have found some of the more advanced features I'm going to bring up, and I'll dive deeper if anybody wants one of these specific things. But these are some of the advanced ones. I've got a couple extra advanced ones, one with Canva and one with Microsoft Teams that I've added to this as well. So without further ado, I'm going to jump into Mailchimp and let's go ahead and talk about what we can do with it. Okay, any questions so far? All right, let's do this thing. So Mailchimp is a program that you're going to log in and use online. It's not a software downloaded to your computer. It is one that you log in to the subscription. And it actually will let you use it for free for up to 2,000 in your audience. That's pretty big for free, don't you think? Now, you can't do all the extra fancies, and I may show you a few of those today that you think, ooh, I'd like that fancy, so I'm going to pay. But I used it for probably over a year. And then as I kept getting closer to 2,000, I would get in there and clean out any inactive or people that weren't, so I could try to keep it under 2,000 as long as I could. And then at some point I crossed the threshold, and I pay every month for this. I pay about in the neighborhood of $30. And you can see in mine that I'm at 2,245 contacts in my list, but I did not pay up to 2,000. Used it for free for a long time. All right, so this is my main dashboard, the little monkey icon, their little Mailchimp guy. And this is just showing me some recent campaign performance, recent social post with it, and then some just different things back along the way. Now you see unsubscribing along there. I don't worry about that. Sometimes somebody is getting it at 2 email addresses and they want to take one off, or sometimes they've changed jobs. When I get an email bounce, I unsubscribe people so that it doesn't count in my count anymore. So don't worry about that. It's a natural process of keeping an email list. Now, you'll be able to create all the things from the create button, but I'm going to jump on down. All of these little things are collapsible and expandable out here on the left. So audience, let's do the audience. This is the dashboard for the audience, and it's telling me different things I have, how my things are doing, where most of my people are from. And here I have some tags that I've used. And then here I can go see all my contacts. It's got a nice little list. It looks like a table, kind of like in Excel. It's an Excel looking kind of table. So you can see the email, you can see the person, you can see the different tags that I have on them. And then you can go ahead and look at any of these and see the actual person's account. Let's see, let me find one. Now I do a search all the time. I'll find somebody here on the call. Let's test to see if I can find Julie's. There you are, Julie. So what I can do is click on that view profile. And here I can see just information about Julie. If she got a different email or she messaged me and said, hey, can you change my email or something? I could come in here. I can write any notes. And I can actually see when she's clicked and opened some of the mailings that I've sent. So you can go and look. That's one thing that's kind of interesting on these mail programs. You can see who's opening and who's clicking around and even how many clicks they did. So that's kind of interesting. Now, if I wanted to, so I search with my magnifying glass. If I want to add people, I can add an individual subscriber or I can import contacts. I'm going to show you, well, to add a subscriber, it looks like this. It just brings up one form. And this is interesting. The only required field is that you capture the email address and that you have to check the boxes that it's okay to email them. And you might have a setup depending, you could have a, you know, a small print on something that you do, you know, when you purchase from us, you know, would you like to be included in the newsletter? Would you like something like that? You can do that and add people in as you get them, but you can add the tags as you go. But the only real required thing, you just need the email address to get it kicked off and added in. The other way you might add people in is to import contacts, and you can do it by uploading a file, but I love that it will do a copy paste. So if you have the list already in Excel or in another format, you could simply copy and paste. I've got the upload file. Let me just walk into that. I'll show you this way. Browse. I've got a sample one for us. Whoops, I think I have the sample one over here. There it is. Audience sample. Open. And continue to organize. Now what you're doing here, oh shoot, I saved it wrong. Okay, let's fix that. Well, we'll do it the other way then. It has to be a CSV file. I had a true Excel file. Let's go out and get it. Let's go. I have it in here, and I have it in here. Okay, so if you have a list like this, you can simply copy this list, copy, Control C, and then I'm jumping back over to my Mailchimp, and let's go back. Method, copy and paste, upload. Okay, and I just click in there. It's got little samples so you can see, and I just paste. Okay, continue to organize. I'll mark them as subscribed and update any existing contacts. Continue. It's talking about that opting in and getting permission. I can add them to tags. Let me do an example tag so I'll know to delete these later. And continue to match. Now this is basically a database list, right? So each field is its own column. So here, what you end up doing is you pick the heading and you pick what it is. First name. Pick this. This is going to be last name. You see, you can open that up and pick what it is. So you really only want to be messing with the data that you need. You don't want to add a bunch of extra stuff. Let's do organization. Okay, so there it's got first name, last name, email address. So it was orange until I had designated it. And then I finalized the import. So it's a step-by-step. You just walk through. It's almost like a wizard walking you through the process. And then you can go ahead and finalize the import. Since that's a sample, I'm going to jump back out. But those are your processes. Okay, you'll get an email then that you imported a list. and it just lets you know it was successful and how many it added in. This is one of the programs, if it recognizes the email address, then it won't add it in a second time. It just lets you know that it found a match. And so it adds only the new ones in. So let's say I had a class of, 12 people, 5 are already in the email list. So when it found those matches, it just skipped that. What questions do you have about the contacts? Now, adding them in manually is not my only way to get them. You can also use the sign-up forms that you might have for your websites. It has some really, really nice forms that you can just grab and go. So let's look at embedded forms. So I'm still in the audience area. Looky there. Okay, so this is a chunk that you can add to your website. And what you do is you get the code, and anybody on here that's done a little website behind the scenes knows you need that really ugly written code that goes in the background. And so you grab that code, and then your website person can put that behind the scenes, and it makes a nice little form just like this right in your website. So super easy to do, and people can subscribe, and then you can, when you see them in there, then you can go in and say, oh, these are new, and I'm going to tag them if I want to. Going through tags a little bit, I've got another system going, so I'm not using this one as actively, but I decided I really like it. So I'm sending at least one mailing a month still from this. But here you see, because of my training, sometimes I'm working with accountants or administrative professionals or small business owners. I've tried to tag them as appropriate. It's easier to do this as you're bringing them in rather than to go back and try to look at everybody. But sometimes you go through and just try to clean it up or search for people and make sure they're in the right tagged group. See here, I've got educator and educators, plural. That's something I could fix. Okay, so government, healthcare. I've just got a lot of different things. KC area, if I'm going to do something up there, I want to be able to reach out to that as a group. And then here are the segments. A couple segments I pulled out, and I'd be curious if you have segments that you've thought of. Like one that I was interested in, I was doing something, actually I'm doing something coming up for our local nonprofit chamber. Now, if I go and edit at what I built, you'd create a new one if you wanted to, but it's got a whole search process where it looks at your list and helps you build the kind of segment that you want. Oh boy, look at it taking its time. There it goes. Okay, so here's a segment that I built. I wanted any email address in my list that contains .org. Think about that. I can isolate those kind of accounts, and for the most part, those are going to be nonprofit organizations in my list. I also might want to do .edu for educator friends. The way these work, and let's go back to segments. What I can do is create a segment. And this allows me to pick from all different kinds of search criteria. So I'm going to set up what are the conditions for my segment. And I'm going to add, what am I looking for? So if I wanted somebody in a certain, look at how many. No, thanks. If I wanted to find somebody with a certain kind of email address, certain kind of tagging, when did they sign up? What have the contacts been doing actively? Did they make a purchase off of an email campaign? I want to know any of those things. So let's just say by location is within 25 miles of Wichita. Validate location. Let's just see how that works. There we go. So it's picking up a location. So this is handy for me because I'm about to launch out and do different conferences in different parts of the country because those are starting to come back. Well, gosh, I could search and find people, make a segment, and then reach out and say, hey, I'm going to be in your area. So I think that's going to be great to be able to do tools like that. So you can add different conditions, and then let's preview the segment. It found 493 contacts that it knows are from Wichita. And then I would just save that segment, give it a name, Wichita location, and save it. So that's how you build them. And I don't know what yours might look like. You can do all kinds of stuff with the segments. So different, see, I did a tag, local ICT area. I was manually doing it. But if it can identify, it will do it for you. Okay, so it does some other things. You can do surveys. It does have a inbox capacity. Let's go on and look at the campaigns though. This is actually sending out emails. So if you're going to do like a monthly or every couple of weeks newsletter, this is a great product. And you can see I've got a few things in here drafted. So I took one that I did previously, and you can always come out to these and replicate them and then revise them for a new edition. So that's what I did here. So that's what the March is drafted up. Let's go look at it. Just click at March. Let me hide him again. He just wants Control-Alt-Shift-H. That's a lot. All right, so here I've got, this is typical when I look at my campaigns, I've got a name for it. Here in the recipients, I get to pick who it's going to. In this case, I'm emailing everybody, but you can come in and edit the recipients. So your audience is here. I've got one audience. I did have a client that had created a bunch of different audiences. I think it's better practice to make the one audience and then use segmenting it or tags to break it up, just as a kind of a overall concept, your one audience. Now, if I had different businesses, I might very well have different audiences, and that would make more sense. And here I can pick different, those segments, those tags, whatever I want to email to. And then I can personalize it if I want to with the first name field, if I need to. You also can establish which email address your email will come from. So I picked my Learn account. And then right here with the subject line, there's a lot of talk about how to do good subject lines. I'll tell you, my best subject line was when I sent out a Zoom video for older folks, like my mom's mid 70s. And so I made one for her, how to use Zoom. And I called it Zoom for Boomers, that she could share with her friends. So when I shared that out with my wider audience, I said, right before the holidays in 2020, I said, hey, grandma, unmute in my subject line. Well, I got a lot of comments from that. People love the subject line. So if you can come up with something clever, you will also find that different words maybe knock you out from different email filters. Like companies might block certain emails. And so it can be tricky to write one that works. It does have some helpers, and you can go find all kinds of articles about writing good subject lines. And then, so I've got a main subject line and then the preview text, because some email systems will show that preview. And then you work on the main meat of the campaign. Here's where I go edit the design. And it's all in a block format, so I can drag these pieces in and out as I want to. It's usually not this slow. It's picked up my mojo for the week. Broken heaters, broken internet at home. All of these are little chunks. And so I like my logo at the top. And then I have a chunk. Now, the part that I thought was confusing with Mailchimp's editor was that you click on the chunk, the block on the left side, but you actually do the editing over on the right side. Each time you click on the piece, it activates it on the right. And then as you want to add things, pictures, you can add links to videos, you can add your own buttons, all of these things. You just click on the chunk and then you have the different areas, content, style, settings, and you fix it just how you want to. You can send yourself previews. I always send myself a test email or two as I'm developing. And when you do that, you just put in the email address you want to see it to. And then I can also save it. Once I've built a couple and I'm feeling good about it, I can save it as a template. And then I don't have to recreate the wheel every time. Now, as you work on the pieces, you'll save and close them. If you want to add new things in, you simply grab them and drag them and drop them right into your setup. You can move these around. It's got a little 4-way arrow. You can click to edit it. You can duplicate it. Maybe you want to try one setup and duplicate it and do it a little different and decide which one you like best, and then delete anything you don't need. Okay. It does have an assistant in there too that will help you with some of these. Let's make one from scratch so you can walk through it. So I'm going to hit continue. Now, when I continue at this point, I'm not mailing it yet. The mailing, the actually sending it out happens from this page here. So when you are ready, you see up here at the top, finish later, that leaves it as a draft. Schedule it for another time, or I'm done, send it now. Now, a couple things you'll like is that you can get a link to this. It'll actually open it up in a browser window. And you'll see that you can also connect it to your social, whatever you have. There's Facebook, you can connect Twitter, Instagram, whatever you're using. And what it does is it makes a post. And then you can schedule it out. It goes when the newsletter goes out, the post goes out. And the way it looks in your social media is a post. I added its own picture there. This is from last month. I need to do a March one with some shamrocks, but it will do it at the same time. The email goes, the post goes, and when they see the post, see if this will take me over there. It actually just looks like right in the website. Let's go, we can see it in here. We can go to this edit design. And we can go to the preview in here and you'll see what it looks like in an actual web browser. And so it will connect people right like that into a web browser to see your newsletter. So you can be posting it, and even if they're not on your mailing list, they could see it. Goodness, I don't know why I'm going slow today. There we go, enter preview mode. So it looks something like this in their browser. And so they can see what it looks like. If I have a chance, I'll open up my Facebook and show you directly from there what it looks like from last time. Okay. Okay. Any questions for me? Y'all are quiet today. You can talk to me. Let's go out and build one from scratch. Is this helping? Get to see it from behind the scenes, how it all works. You know, a lot of people are still laying out an old school newsletter like a Microsoft Publisher or one of the design products from Adobe. You could start making them here. And just instead of laying it all out, you put the individual blocks with the content in it. All right, so let's create a campaign. So you can pick from here. Let's do a regular email. And you see here, all these things, I'll just start from scratch from the beginning. So I would title it. And then I pick either the tag or segment or everybody. It knows it's from me. I'll add a subject line. And then I'll go ahead and go on and build it. Now, when you first do this, it gives you some really nice layouts to get you started. Or if you've already built one and you saved it as a template, this can be just another way to start. Here it's asking me, do I want to use one of their layouts? Do I want to use a theme? Do I want something that's saved? Looking at other campaigns that I've done, or even coding our own. We won't mess with that, will we? So some of you are selling products. So my friends on here that are selling products, and maybe you have a special on a certain product and you want to just put that whole thing together, you know, these selling products would be a good way for you to start. You can pick from these basic designs or any of these features. Let's just do, we'll just start with this one, play with that one. So for me, a product would be maybe a webinar, but for my friends at Single Source, maybe that is a very specific something that they are running a big promotion on to sell a lot of. So they can add the content pieces they want. You see, when you click on these pieces, it gives you the text over on the side. And this part takes some getting used to. You can't edit it here. You're editing it over on the side. And when you're done with it, you save it. And I have found if you try to save and continue from here with their sample text in, it won't let you send it. It won't let you make that mistake, which is nice. So as you start building things, like here's how you bring in a picture. So we will go ahead and replace a picture. You go out and shop for one that you want to use. We'll do something like this. Okay, so it's really easy to grab a picture. I would recommend if you want to add a link to it. So if they click on that picture, it goes somewhere. You could do that. You could also add alternate text. So if they're using a computer screen reader, it will read to them what the picture is about. Okay. Sometimes I get that it doesn't like the image. It thinks it's too big. When I click Let's Fix It, it goes behind the scenes of it. And I'll tell you what, I frankly don't even really mess with it. I just hit save and it reduces it to fit in their in their setup. And that's all. That's how you add pictures. If you want to add different things, sometimes I put a divider in. And you can pick like the thickness of the divider, what color it is, any of that. You can add your social icons. Here's a button. A button is kind of cool. With a button, when you click on the button, you have whatever text you want in here. Register now for the Zoom webinar. And then you link it to wherever it needs to go. That's what activates the button. But this will be a live button in your newsletter or your email, whatever you're doing. It does automatically, when you set up your account, it adds all the unsubscribe information at the bottom. So it has to have a physical address. It has the unsubscribe option so people can receive it and opt out by law. You don't have to mess with that once you've got it set up. And then here, this is why I like to use a template where I've already set these up. It's really easy to do the social things. So basically, you pick which social you want. Like I don't do Twitter, but I do LinkedIn and I do YouTube. You'll just go and get your link for real and you put it in there. So I would go and get one, copy that, Control C, and then I bring it back over here into the URL for that. So that becomes mine. Don't forget to change those. Otherwise, it just goes to the plain program, not linked back to you. Okay. Is all this feeling fairly comfortable? What do you think of it?
It's amazing all the different options.
Yeah, there's a lot you can do with it, isn't it?
Yep.
And I don't know how you feel looking at it, but as I grab and move things around, it feels simple to me.
Yeah, drag and drop is really helpful.
It is. And so I'm feeling pretty confident even when I just get started with this. So play around, you could start with a small group, test it, send your self-test emails. I think you'll enjoy it. Anywho, I'm going to hit continue here and go talk about some of the other features you can do. So back into the actual campaigns area. So it's showing all the campaigns I've drafted up, and you can schedule them from here, from the list when you're ready. You see, I have several drafts now. The one I just created, the one I'm going to do in March. I've got another one specific to an event, a conference event, and I'm going to send that one out. But you can also look at all these things: emails, automations, landing pages. You can build a website with Mailchimp. You can set up ads and postcards and social posts and surveys. So all kinds of things. You can go look at reports as well, see how your campaigns are doing. And those of you that are into the analytics know more about this than I do, but you can just look at mine. When I mouse over it, it actually adjusts there. You can see that at 30% of the emails were opened, and that the count is 685 out of 2,000 some. So it's kind of interesting to go back and look. And then when I posted it also as a social post, you can see that how many it reached. That means how many saw it in the feed and how many actually clicked on it. So you can go back and see, are you doing better? Are you doing worse? See, I did a little better with the January ones, a few more percentage opens. Okay, so that's something you can look at. Let's talk about the automations. Now, this is getting more advanced. I just want to tell you about it and kind of show you a little bit, but some of you are going to want to set up something that is more of a journey. They call it a customer journey. So if you send something out and they click on, like, let's say you have 3 products and they click on a certain product and they go and view it and they start to build a cart and then they exit out. Well, you might want to go back in there and repost, reschedule to people that like built a cart and abandoned the cart. So you're looking for things that the customer did and what you can do to follow up on that. And you know what's happened to you, right? Like you were looking at the cute boots, you put them in the cart, and then you like, ooh, do I want to spend that much? And so you abandon the cart, and pretty soon you get a little email that says, hey, you get an extra 10% off if you buy those boots today. Like they know you went to the cart and they're trying to reconnect with you. That would be a customer journey or an automation where something happens and it triggers another thing. And so I would advise those of you in a sales situation to really look at how you might use this software to really focus in on those kind of elements. Kate, I'll have to look. Yeah, there is a way, I think, to see exactly where the templates go. Let me come back to that. You also, so it'll help you. It actually has where you can create a journey and you walk through the steps and you build this out. And they have help videos and things. You can see how that goes. A transaction email, this is something where sending fast, personalized one-to-one messages. So I'm not doing that. I'm doing a mass emailing. So I'm not really using that transactional one yet. Retargeting ads, these are bringing people from maybe one of your social medias. So you're setting it up to connect with those and bring people in. And you can build postcards. Here is a website builder. I have played with it. It is not as robust as other products. I was looking at it recently to see, could I do like a membership directory on it? It's not that robust. It would be kind of like doing one on Google Sites. It's at that level to me. And then here is the Content Studio. This is interesting. When I upload things, it's storing things for me. It will actually design things. You should try this. You can click in here. You see it says new. So you can actually bring in your website and it will go out and design things based on your current designs. It will try to help you. So it's kind of fun. There is branding kit there. My files, as I upload things, you will see these in my files. So I'm wondering, you asked about templates. So it's not, but it's got content based on the image, so images and videos and probably things like that. But I don't see the templates here, but we'll find where they are. You can even build your own other things, your gifts, if you want to make some. It's got a whole thing here. Those of you that have products, and these are old screen things that I did. So they're not true products, but I think that if you had, the boots, whatever you're selling, you could go ahead and upload your products in here. That would be helpful for a lot of you. And then Instagram and logos, whatever you're using. I'm going to go to my files. This is a discovery that I made recently, and I brought up Canva. Anybody using Canva? Okay. So what I found, I brought one up so I could show you. I'm going to use this soon, and I'm going to use it in Mailchimp. So from Canva, you can actually store things directly to Mailchimp. Yay! Okay, so if you build it in Canva, you know you're going to want it when you're building your Mailchimp newsletters and things. Go ahead and click to add it over to Mailchimp. And then within seconds, it's there. This is a nice shortcut. Okay, I'm going to go here and let's refresh this page and see if it showed up that quickly. Because normally I'd have to come over here and upload it manually. So within seconds, it's already here. So it's a nice integration, and you can integrate a lot of products now. It is starting to do many more integrations. If you come down to integrations, you'll see that other products that you're using may be connected. Okay, especially those of you selling things, Shopify, Square, Stripe. Even Eventbrite. Okay, so take a look at those. And I've played with several of them. At the bottom of the list, you can see the ones I've connected. Another one that I connected, if any of you are using Microsoft Teams, if you are using Microsoft Teams, you can add Mailchimp reports right into the channels. Again, I know not everybody's using Teams, but if you do, you go to the channel, you click the ellipsis, and you add a connector over to Mailchimp. Now, the first time you do it, you set it up, you log in, but it absolutely has hundreds of products in here that you can connect. And then what it does, this is just like a news feed channel, and you can see that it's giving a report of that last campaign that I mailed. See the numbers? 600 some, 30% opened. These are the kind of things I just got news, I've got Google Analytics, and so you can add those different things and connect them right over from the other softwares. Look for those right now. There's tons that are going to save you time. I was going to show you also in my Facebook page, my business page, how that showed up. We have to go find it. It's not too far back. Okay, so this is the post that got published by Mailchimp. So I had the campaign, and then I had a social post connected to it. And this is what it looks like in the feed. And then this is what it looks like when someone actually clicks on it from Facebook, and then they can actually subscribe to you, actively subscribe. So if they see this and they're like, oh my gosh, that's cool, I wish I could get on her mailing list, then they're going to see subscribe up there, and then they can go ahead and look, I've got it all. This is all from Mailchimp. It's set up to capture that information. They can subscribe. So if they see it in your social, they can jump right on and be on your next mailing. Okay, so Okay, so I'll look for where those templates live. And what other questions has this brought up for you today? You can open mics. We're a small group out there. I'm going to go in and show Kate how to save to those templates. So when you're on a campaign and you have built it and got it structured how you want, you're going to go ahead and let's go to this one. We haven't looked at this one yet. Let's say I'm going to do this 2 or 3 times over the next couple of weeks. When I go into edit design, there I see them now, Kate, as I'm looking. I know where they're at now. I can see it. I use so many programs. I got to look. I have to shop
Does that
sometimes.
save the entire thing though? So you'd have to pretty much pull up an old one to have access to
what I
it?
would do is probably replicate. I would duplicate
Okay.
one that's already in existence, probably leave my heading,
Yep,
probably leave my buttons and leave
Yep.
all my social.
yep,
and
and
then
then
when
leave the other
you-
parts you can add blocks. Okay, that makes sense.
Right. And then
makes sense.
you save it as a template.
Okay,
And then when you're creating next time, you'll see it in those email templates.
okay. And the footer can go in there too, right? Because that's a
Yes,
block
all of
that you
this.
pull in. Okay, cool. Okay,
And then if I go back, and then in that campaigns list, there were email templates were
Mhm.
showing up as one of the things. See them here on this left edge. Let's go see what it shows. So those are the 2 main ones
Okay.
that I've done.
you have save that you kind of use as main ones. Okay,
Yeah, yeah. So, and there, from here, create a campaign from it.
okay,
So you could use that as your starting block.
okay.
Okay, any other questions or thoughts about this?
I have a question. This is Sue Case. I'm a member of IAAP, and so I'm the regional membership chair. And so our regional branch manager or director, she goes in and does all this. But what I'm struggling with is trying to, so we have the whole membership list, and we have probably 50 of them that are they did the 6-month trial membership and it expired, and we want to reach out to them and say, hey, would you like to renew your? I cannot figure out how to just single out that group of people.
So does Mailchimp know that information, or do you have to take another list and pick and choose who applies?
Yes, it's in Excel, and so I was
Okay.
trying to do the tag, I was trying to do the segment, and I can't.
Yeah, so a segment would be something Mailchimp already knows. So a tag is what we're going to do for these people in this particular situation. So
Okay.
what I would do, I would go to my all contacts. I would click on the little search guy there, and I would pull somebody up. Julie, I'm going to pick on you again. And so if I go to that particular person that was on that Excel list that I want to add a tag, then I'd come over here to tags on that person, and I would say let's make a tag name, like it would be re-invite or free membership trial or something like that. And so I would tag them with whatever that one is. Then you'd have it. And Sue, when you're ready, then you could make the one mailing, and you would pick the recipients are just going to be the people that are under that tag. You can do the tagging from the master list, but I have found this master list a little bit frustrating to work with. I don't know if you found that, but
I did.
yeah, okay, so you get me then. So
Yep.
I like to pull them up one at a time and figure out what I'm going to do with them, and then go from there.
Great, thank you so much.
Oh, great question though. I love it. And I did a whole training for the IAAP, the directors and regional managers. So if you didn't get a copy of that, I bet they still have that copy floating somewhere. I'll see if I can find it. It was my copy, I bet. So let me see if I have it. Suitcase
Thank
IAAP
you.
directors. Okay, great questions. What else? Remember, you can apply these skills if you use Constant Contact, or maybe you have some kind of CRM system that has a newsletter builder or something in it. A lot of this will apply. The tagging, the categorizing. You can even do these kind of things from your Microsoft Outlook or Gmail account. In Gmail, it's called labels. In Outlook, it's called categories. You can do those same kind of things. So once you get the concept, but I think the look of the Mailchimp emails are very pretty. Now, companies will block. So don't be surprised if it doesn't get through to some of your folks. Just don't be surprised. Just some of it just doesn't get through. And you understand that as a business person, that you want to block out a lot of spam, and this can be considered spam. So just don't be surprised. When you break through, and that's good. You reach
Is
some.
there a workaround for that at all? Like if you could pull your list of people that you know that they can't get emails through Mailchimp, that you could
Well, it's getting
somehow-
harder and harder because there's
Okay.
some new regulations that came down through Apple and the iProducts, the Mac products. I've heard that we're going to get some more lockdown on, and it just really depends how the administrators have set security up at the different, especially big companies. You're going to find that they block a lot of external that they perceive as junk. So this is what I decided to do, is that I email not only from Mailchimp, but I also am doing now an emailing from my Kajabi, which is Kajabi, where I'm starting to build up my different class offerings and things in there, and website pages and stuff. So some people can't open that one. So I'm at least hitting some. That's the goal. And if they open some and click around, it'll be more likely to break through. Okay, thoughts, questions?